The breath it's the first thing we do. It's the last thing we do. And it's the only thing that's really conscious, yet it's unconscious. And we have that conscious ability to control our breath because it's a tool we can use to change our mental and physical state.
So one of the things I always pride myself on is trying to help busy folks just like you take control of their life so they can have more time and energy doing the things they love and less time doing the things they don't. Turns out my new friend Taylor Somerville is the same kind of guy, just right down the road from you in Memphis, Tennessee. Instead, he helps people do this through breath work, heat, cold therapy. Very interesting. You're going to want to take a listen. Do more by doing less. With me, Charles Alexander, for small business owners, startups, and busy folks. I normally don't ask, but tell us a little bit about your backstory in terms of you getting to Memphis in general to where you are now with Symmetry, which is the polar opposite of what you started doing.
That's right. So as I mentioned, I've lived in California for a little bit. Out of college, I was a finance major, and then I went and graduated in one of the first kind of crises of the early 2000s after the dot-com crash. And there weren't too many financial jobs at that time. So I went to work in an accounting firm doing accounting work for hedge funds. And at that process, I was going through getting my chartered financial analyst, the CFA charter holder, and helped them open an office. Then wanted to get to the other side. Started working director of research at an investment firm here in Memphis, registered investment advisor, and then transitioned over. Last 11 years of my financial career I was on a trading floor, commodity firm here, traded interest rates, worked with our chief economist, really doing the global macro picture. So I kind of gave trades to our head traders. We traded all the main commodities, corn, wheat, bean, all the cattle.
When you say you're on the floor, you like the guys down there with the suit jackets and the papers flying all over the place.
Well, not this day. So with big open desk, a bunch of computers, sitting in we had, I guess, about 6 people per pod.
You were in the boiler room.
The investment group, the economics team kind of did some technical analysis, staring at 4 screens all day long, trying to worry about what the Fed was doing, what all the economic numbers were coming out every day. It's kind of I'd get up at 4. I'd be looking at screens by 6 a.m. or earlier, and just basically sit there staring at screens all day. Very high stress, a lot of personal, professional anxiety. As mentioned, I went through a divorce during that time, 2014, and that kind of culminated me to realizing, all right, we can have these paths in our life, and then they all just explode. And I was super just reactionary, overwhelmed, and that's when I found breath work. Really kind of started in with just like a mindfulness meditation, and then more expansive breath work practices, and found that they changed my state. I was able to just stay a little bit more calm in the chaos, respond instead of reacting to stressful situations, not get as worked up while I was at the office or home, and not really bring it all home. And then kept really diving deep into all that. And then 2017, I quit my job and started out on a new path. Didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew I couldn't sit on a trading floor anymore.
Sure.
I knew if I was going to do that, I'd be looking around and I'd be 65 and still doing the same thing, because it can suck you in and it's hard to leave. So I just knew I had to kind of make that break. Told them, it took me a few months to get up the courage, honestly, to tell them that I was quitting, and told them and gave them a month's notice. And everybody was kind of like, yeah, we knew that. We thought this might be coming. And then I started Symmetry in 2018, and we help busy people take back control of their lives. So they have more time, more energy, and less stress. And we use the breathing as really one of the foundations.
So, and I'd met you a few weeks ago doing some group coaching, training type stuff. And one of the more interesting things is exactly what you just said. Great tagline, by the way. We help busy people take back control of their life so they can have more time, energy, and less stress. And that could apply to anybody. Tell us, in terms of, we got folks that are watching, listening, busy professionals, entrepreneurs, startups. They're tired, they're stressed, they're busy. Help debunk some of the myths around breathing exercises, or it being woo-woo, or just a hack, or just a fad. What do we need to be thinking about when we're thinking of a breathing exercise?
Well, first off, yeah, woo, kind of a hack. That's
Yeah.
why we hear, especially when I started this in 2018 in Memphis, Tennessee, people probably were like, this guy's crazy. He's lost his mind. What is he doing? And what it is you can think of it, it's almost like it's a great way to increase your performance. The breath it's the first thing we do, it's the last thing we do, and it's the only thing that's really conscious, yet it's unconscious. And we have that conscious ability to control our breath because it's a tool we can use to change our mental and physical state. Most people think when it comes to that, they got to sit there for like 20, 30 minutes at a time and really focus on it. You see like meditators and they're just sitting there.
Sure.
Well, that's not necessarily the case. You can get benefits in as little as 3 to 5 minutes. And what we do a lot with clients, we also work on what we call everyday breathing. So how you're breathing just as you're going through your day, just like it sounds, where you're focusing on breathing through your nose. You're focusing on breathing lower, so down into the belly, because if you're breathing up here into your chest, you're causing yourself to be in a more stressed state. You're releasing more cortisol, more adrenaline. Same thing if you're breathing in and out of your mouth all day. You're doing that. You're putting your body in a stressed state. So we focus on breathing lower through the nose and breathing slower, because faster breathing patterns are also going to kind of ramp up your nervous system. And if you can do that right there without even sitting down and doing any breathing techniques, we have clients who say that right there changes instantly how they're feeling as they're going throughout the day, just by making those small little shifts. And so you can think about it as more, not only a way to calm down, but it's a performance enhancer. It's going to give you the ability to focus so you can do the work that you need to. When you're working, you can focus on work, don't have to worry about what everything else is around you. When you go home to your family, you can be with them as well. So we also incorporate like what we call transition. So you're moving from work to home, from workouts, kind of in between, using that time to really check in with your breath, even if it's only for like a minute.
In terms of the 3 to 5 minute, is it 3 to 5 minute exercises or 3 to 5 minutes total per day that you start off investing? We
start people out with a very basic pattern typically, which is really just kind of learning to slow your breath down. So breathing in for about 5 seconds, out for about 5 seconds, which gives you breathing rate of about 6 breaths a minute, which tends to be more optimal to the nervous system. So kind of step back a second, create some common language. We have 2 parts of the nervous system: the parasympathetic, rest, relaxation, digestion; the sympathetic, that fight or flight. Modern society, we tend to be stuck more into that sympathetic side because evolutionarily we needed that, and it was acute stress response that happens. Our breath rate speeds up, heart rate speeds up, blood rushes out from our core to our extremities because we need to create action. Basically, we need to run away from a line. Nowadays, it's an email coming in. It's much more emotional. So we get it all throughout the day and it's kind of stuck chronically on. So what we tend to do is, all right, we need to dial it back a little bit so you can ramp up when you need to, and then you can come down. So we'll have a client breathe in and out, that in 5, out 5 for 3 to 5 minutes, kind of as a way to start your day. And then checking back in multiple times throughout the day and maybe doing that again. So about 15 minutes total a day to start out.
Is there like a 30 second or a 1 minute one we can test out now?
Yeah. So this is what we call our SOS breathing protocol. So in a stress state, kind of a quick way to calm yourself down. For one, if you're looking at a screen, you want to look up, look away. That kind of also helps calm the nervous system down, get out of that focused, intense mind. And then we'll just take a few breaths in through the nose, out of the mouth, kind of strong, powerful like this. So
those are fast.
And then you're just going to go slowly in through the nose. Let the belly expand, slower out of the mouth.
Do you time those?
What?
Do we time those?
Don't worry about timing it. We're just going to go slowly in, slower out. Slowly in through the nose, slower out of the mouth. And you can just kind of keep doing that. So what we do there is we get control of the breath. Think about anything, if somebody's stressed out, you tell them to calm down, it's not really going to work. So you have to, for one, get control, because a lot of times when we're stressed out, we're either holding our breath or we're kind of breathing rapidly, that upper chest breathing in and out of the mouth. So you take control, a few powerful breaths, and then you slow it down. When we slow the exhale over the inhale, it brings the nervous system down and helps calm you down pretty quickly. And that's also technique we like to use. We do a lot of stuff with hot cold therapy. So we get people in ice baths, saunas, and when we get in the ice, that's really like one of the first techniques we do to help people gain control of the breath there. Because when you can get control of something like a 30-degree ice bath, it makes it even easier when you get those stressful situations popping up during the day.
Well, let's make a quick transition then, because the breathing techniques I think a lot of people are aware of. They'll try, and we need to come back to this because I know a ton of folks, Charles Alexander included, that will start down that road and then get busy and never come back to it and then say, well, it didn't really work for me. But let's make a move then, talk about hot cold therapy, because I know people are aware of it, but I don't think they know what it is. So tell us a little bit more about it and how it helps.
So we use ice baths and saunas. Traditional ice bath, which is roughly 30 degrees, and our sauna, traditional barrel sauna, gets up to 220 plus degrees.
Whoa!
So what we're doing there is we're cycling back and forth. We'll run groups, which is also great for kind of community building, but we will start in the sauna, then you get in the ice. We do 3 rounds. We're doing about 10, 15 minutes in the heat and then up to 3 to 5 minutes in the cold. A host of physical benefits, from improved immune response, decreased inflation. We have what creates cold shock heat protein and heat shock proteins in our body, which easiest way to think about it, they help kill off damaged cells. You also get a good cardiovascular boost as the blood's rushing into your core and then back out. You also great improvement and kind of sense of mood and well-being. So as we're doing that, your body will start releasing endorphins and dopamine, and it'll last all day long. So you get these great physical benefits, but then you get the mental benefit of, one, doing something uncomfortable that you think is hard and learning to breathe your way through it. And by the end of 3 rounds, we'll do 3 rounds and we end on the cold, which also has some metabolic benefits of helping boost your metabolism, kind of a shivering response, and let your body naturally warm up. But the rest of the day, you tend to be floating and feeling just like you're on a little ice high. I say there's a reason cultures have been doing this stuff for thousands of years. It's because you feel so damn good when you get done.
So tell me then, how long are you in the sauna, and then how long are you in the cold, and how often are you doing this?
So our sauna is really hot. Most saunas you will find, the traditionals will be, 180-ish degrees. Mm-hmm. Infrareds are about 160. We get up to 220, 230 degrees. And we stay in there 10 to 15 minutes. But somebody just starting out, you want to stay in there until you start to get a little bit uncomfortable. Once you're feeling like it's a little uncomfortable, stay in maybe a minute longer, because we're trying to basically push our capacity to where we're not just jumping out at the first sign of discomfort.
Sure.
We're very comfortable lives nowadays. We're stuck indoors, 70-degree weather constantly. So we're trying to stress our body, because this is good stress. Then we go into the ice and we stay in that ice for 3 to 5 minutes. And in the ice, we are also when people are first doing it, I tell them it's not about staying in for the 3 to 5 minutes. It's about staying in longer than you want to. Not breaking that emotional reaction. If you step in, we dunk our head fully, come up. A lot of people want to instantly jump out.
Yeah.
Rapidly going into a state of panic. But once you get your breath under control, everything tends to calm down. And it's usually that first 30, 45 seconds that is the most intense. And usually once you get through that, it gets a little easier. And it's about breaking that emotional reaction function that says, get me out of here right now. And dealing with that, just like you have those kind of reactions throughout life where you want to just react emotionally on the first thing that comes up, learning how to, all right, maybe I don't need to react on that. Maybe I need to step back and respond in those situations.
And so is that something y'all are doing multiple times? Well, let's say or is that something you're doing every day, a couple of days a week? Is it just you're in the hot, in the cold, and then you're done? Or are you going back and doing it?
We do 3 rounds of each. So you're getting roughly, so I run sessions twice a week here, Wednesdays and Fridays, got 2 sessions this afternoon. Most of our clients will come and do it at least once a week. And a lot of people at home you could do it, like a lot of people will get in cold plunges and stuff like that every day. It's very hard to do a full cycle because we're doing 3 rounds. So you're getting about 45 minutes in the heat and about 10 minutes in the ice. You look at a lot of the research, ideally what you want to get roughly per week for a lot of the health and longevity benefits, about 10 minutes in cold and about 45 minutes to an hour in saunas. Has tremendous cardiovascular boost, great for even things like prediabetes as well, and about a lot of metabolic conditions. So that's roughly about what our sessions are. I will do it a few times a week.
So what is a fella? So you and me were having a conversation before we hopped on here, and this we'll still be a few weeks before we hit the publish button, but I'll still have bad knees by then. I just had both knees replaced. They got all the inflammation, all the stuff, all the things. Now, we're lucky enough that our pandemic purchase was an infrared sauna, not a barrel sauna, but close as we could get. And I think it's like you're telling me, I think it maxes out. It's advertised to go to 180, probably hits 165 and quits. So how long should I be in there? And then what do I do for a cold plunge at home, knowing that I don't have a cold plunge device?
The first thing you could do is start with cold showers.
Okay.
So whether it's taking a regular shower and then ending it on cold and then not jumping out right when it gets cold, making sure you have 3 slow controlled breaths before you get out of the shower, and then kind of gradually working on expanding the time frame on like how long that takes. Maybe you stay in for a minute and kind of work your way up. With that sauna like you have, I would stay in that sauna. A lot of times infrareds take you about 15 minutes or so before you start feeling the heat, and then staying in until you're ready to get out. Maybe it's 30 to 45 minutes, and then doing a round in, maybe you fill up your bathtub with a little bit of ice or just cold water, or just going straight into a cold shower.
Okay.
And then cooling and calming yourself down, and then staying in there anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes, kind of starting out in the cold shower. And just doing like one round is a great way to start out. And that's the best way really to do with the infrared, because it's hard to do multiple rounds because it takes a long time to heat up. So it would take you a few hours, a couple hours at least to kind of get through a full 3 rounds in the cold and the heat.
Side note, what's the difference between a barrel sauna and an infrared sauna?
So the barrel saunas are using like the hot stones to get heat, where the infrared is the infrared technology. So kind of like infrared heats you up from the outside or from the inside out, where the barrel is, much more traditional, where you throw the water on it and they will get a lot hotter. Infrareds just don't get as hot. That's one of the main differences.
So so hop in there 35 minutes, get in a cold shower 3 or less, do my breathing while I'm in the shower, and that's where I get started. So
that's exactly with your setup. That's what I would do.
That's what I'm gonna have to do. Good deal. So in looking at going back to the breathing techniques, you guys actually, and correct me if I'm wrong here, y'all have classes, courses, chances where people can do this as a group?
Yes, that's correct. As I said, we work with busy people. So we work with a lot of kind of type A, high performing entrepreneurs, business people, and really showing you how you can incorporate these techniques. We have groups starting in January. We have constant groups going, and we do it virtually as well. So the virtual aspect is part of it, and we will teach you how to use the techniques, teach you for specific situations. And we also do a lot of mindset training. So kind of understanding what happens when we get stressed out, what goes through our body, how we can kind of reframe that. Also building habits as well, because like you said, you might start and you'll do it for a little bit and then you just kind of let it go away and think it doesn't work. Well, so we're big on how do you build these sustainable habits? How do you keep them going? Because the breath is a tool that we have forever. It's something, we're both from the South, something we for sure weren't taught when we were growing up.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine going up to your mom and dad saying, I'm going to do my breathing exercises growing up out in the country?
Luckily, nowadays they're teaching the stuff in schools. You're seeing, I know we even have in Memphis, we have some schools that teach it. They're seeing a lot more focus on the mental health aspect of it. And so, but it's not just the mental health. We work with athletes as well. And, you get just full on performance boost out of it. So we have group classes. Our website is symmetry.live. You can find everything there. It's the best place to hit us. We have free ebooks as well. A lot of free resources on the site.
Yeah, take a look at your link tree on Instagram. You have 15 different things.
We've got quite a bit.
So, and in looking at y'all's, and this is kind of outside of just talking about the breathing exercises, hot, cold therapy, I got a ton of folks that listen that are entrepreneurs. How many people are on your team that you're running a business like this?
There's two of us.
Okay.
I have another coach who works with me. She does a lot of our kind of back end aspect as well, systems and runs social, but she's also has her own clients, and she works with me in the group coaching aspect too.
So a lot of the group coaching y'all are doing that are virtual or in person's breathing, and then you have people come on site because you've got the setup with the plunges and the barrel saunas.
That's correct. Yep.
Dude, how do people find out about y'all?
Most of it is word of mouth. I've had it from Memphis, just in the community, but outside of Memphis, it is anywhere from I've had some celebrities who have done a lot of my breathing techniques who have talked about me through podcasts and found me there, and then kind of gets put out by other people, groups like that. So it comes through a lot of word of mouth, and we're now really trying to get our LinkedIn presence, our social presence. I used to write a blog, and we have a newsletter that we put out as well, put stuff out weekly.
Well, and before we take a quick switch in gears, is anything that I didn't ask you about breathing or heat or cold that I probably should have thought to ask?
I think that's a great start right where you are.
Perfect. Well, tell us then, in terms of this being the do more by doing less podcast question I like to ask folks, and this be right up your alley. What is some things right now that you should personally be doing less of?
Something I talk to all my clients about, being on the phone less.
Gotcha.
Fortunately, run a lot of my business out of the phone, so have to be on it, but I wish I could be on it a whole lot less. And that's one of the first things we really do with all of our clients in our groups. It's like, don't get on the phone first 30, 45 minutes of the day or the last 30, 45 minutes of the day.
Right.
Create that space, because once you get in that thing, you're done.
Yeah, and I've preached this forever, and I often have to reteach myself. But the first thing, unfortunately, most of us have our alarms on our phone. So I've had to switch mine over to my watch. And when you have the alarm on the phone, the first thing you want to do is after you open it, it has all the shiny notifications that turn off the notifications is a good tool for each and everybody out there. Secondarily, don't check your phone first thing, because you're immediately on everybody else's to-do list of what things you're supposed to be taking care of that doesn't necessarily meet what you're wanting to do. Not to mention if the folks that like to read news first thing, because they're really worried about what's happening 5,000 miles away that they can't control, that will now ruin their day. But yeah, I've had clients over and over. It's one of the first things we talk about. Let's go to, it's an iPhone. Let's go to setting. Let's go to screen time. Well, I'm not really on here. Well, it says here you're on here 7 hours a day. But so let's say in your case, you managed to get a little more of it off of the business off the phone, maybe on the laptop or somewhere else. What will that free you up to do if you manage to put the phone down a little bit?
It allows you to do a lot more deep work, big picture thinking, writing more, creating more than anything. And I've got a 2-month-old baby girl at home, so it helps me be more present with her as well.
Sweet thing. What's her name?
Lee.
That's a good name. Little Lee at 2 months. I normally try to steer clear of the sleeping question at that point, because nobody ever seems happy if she's sleeping through the night. Somebody's gonna get pissed off.
Sleeping through the night. Everybody asks us that, and luckily she's sleeping, which is great.
Good for you, man.
Crossing our fingers, it stays that way for a while.
Probably will. So, all right, Mr. Alabama in Memphis, you told us a little bit earlier. Refresh. How can somebody find you easily?
Easiest way to find us is at www.symmetry.live or on Instagram at symmetry.live.
Fantastic stuff, Taylor. I'm about to go turn the sweat pod on and make sure I'll hop in the cold shower later.
Sounds good, Charles. Thanks for having me.
Hey, bud. Have a great day.
You too.
Wait. Don't run off just yet. Do me a big favor. Hit the little plus sign to subscribe, scroll down wherever you are, and leave a very honest 5-star review and tell other people why they should be listening. And if you don't, an angel may in fact lose its wings. True story. Have a great day.